Hey everybody, welcome back to MoWorks. Today we have another interesting video, and it is going to be about how to remove a bolt from a bolt action rifle. Now I have three different bolt action rifles with me here today, and each of them have a slightly different way of removing the bolt. Before I get too far, if there's any YouTube moderators watching this, I just want to let you know I'm not going to show any actual disassembly. Everything will be blurred or censored out or skipped over just to be in congruence with your new guidelines. That aside, I'm going to be showing you how to remove the bolt from a Remington 783, a Ruger American, and a Mosin Nagant, as well as covering the removal for a Savage Axis 2. I don't have it on hand, but I'll show you guys kind of how that breaks down. After all that, we're going to go into some channel updates. If you guys are interested or invested in the channel, that'll be after the Mosin Nagant. Okay, right into it. Quick informative video. Let's get you guys some information. Alright, one last thing to be said, this is a video for beginners, so if you're experienced, you probably already know a lot of these breakdowns, but if you're a beginner, enjoy. Okay, so this is the Remington 783, my first ever gun. It is chambered in .30-06, it is a long action. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do before you do anything with your firearms, remove the magazine, and then make sure there's no live ammo in the gun, visually and tactilely. The bolt removal process for this .30-06 Remington 783 comes down to this little fin, this little tab right here. What you're going to do is you're going to depress that. I'm going to flip the gun over so you can see. Then you're going to lift up on your bolt as normal, pull all the way back. Then once you get to this point, instead of catching like it normally does, it's going to slide right out. Again, I can't show you, but trust me. And then see, it removes just like that. Now to put the bolt back in, you do not have to depress this on this particular rifle. You just realign it, and then it'll pop back in without needing that to be depressed. Now again, on some of your guys' rifles, this might not push down, it might push off to the side, or might push forward, but on this rifle, it pushes down. Now for the Savage Axis 2, I don't have that gun with me because it belongs to my brother, and he's currently a little bit ways away right now. But on the Savage Axis 2, you have to hold down on this tab, and you have to pull back the trigger, and then you can lift this up and back to remove the bolt. You almost kind of need three hands for it, but I practiced it for a little while and I got pretty good at it. So if your gun does need that function where it needs to push down on that fin, pull back on the trigger and remove the bolt, just work with it a little bit. I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. Alright, on to our next firearm. This is a Ruger American chambered in .762 by .39, commonly known as the AK round. This guy has a slightly different takedown mechanism, but it's not too different from the Remington 783. So again, we're going to remove the magazine, open it up, make sure it's clear, which it is, close that up again, and now you can see on the side here this little oblong cutout. You can see when I push that bolt up and slide it back, it dips down. See that again? It dips down, and that is its locking mechanism. So, quite intuitively, in order to open it without that locking down, we're going to hold down on the side that raises up. You know, ride it all the way to the back, and when it gets to the end, it'll pop right out. Now, you probably saw in that cut there, I switched to my thumb, because that's a little bit easier than using your finger, because it can be quite stiff. Again, with this bolt, you don't have to have this depressed to slide it back in. You just line it up, and it slides back in all by itself. So one more time, using the thumb, you hold down on the side, that raises up whenever the bolt is to the rear, effectively pinning it in place, slide it all the way to the back, and it'll pop right out. Again, you don't need to depress that to slide it back in. You just line it up, and it goes back in. From the other side, again, using my thumb, slides back, and then when you get all the way to the rear, it'll just pop right out. No need to depress on the way in, just line it up, and it goes right in. Pretty simple. I actually like this one a little bit better because there's more kind of to hold there, and it looks a little smoother and a little cleaner. But then again, this is a much more updated gun than the Remington 783 is. Alright, now we're going to be kicking it old school with a Mosin Nagant. This one was manufactured in 1926. It has a Tikka barrel. We have a whole separate video on it if you're interested. Yeah, so this is a 98-year-old gun, and its bolt removal process isn't actually too wild. It's actually pretty basic. I wish more guns were like this. There's probably good reasons why they're not anymore. Again, the Mosin, we can't remove the magazine, so we're going to open it up. We're going to feel that spring, make sure it's empty. Visually check there's no ammo in there. And then tactilely check, which means we're using a finger. Alright, go ahead and close that up. Now this has the simplest breakdown process of any of the rifles I've shown here today. You simply pull the bolt up, slide it to the rear, then you're going to pull down on the trigger actually, and then the bolt's just gonna pop on out. Now you can actually see the mechanism in there. It's very intuitive. You pull down that trigger and you see how that slides down. Imagine my pinky was the bolt. You slide that down into this bolt holder. You can see how it catches. Hopefully, you can see how it catches on that little lever. But when we depress the trigger, that lever goes down and my pinky can slide by freely. Same thing happens with this bolt. Now on this Mosin, you can just line it up and then slide it on home like you normally would with any other with this type of removal process. However, I in particular, I like to go ahead and press down on that trigger before lining it up and sliding it in, just because I like to be a little nicer on this gun, because she is 98 years old. She still does kick, she still does do a great job as far as accuracy, as far as reliability, as far as not falling apart, but I still like to be nice to it because it is almost a Centurion. Alright guys, I hope that helps some new shooters. I know I would have liked an explanation like that out in the beginning. Of course, there are so many different types of bolt actions and rifles in the world that might have not covered all of your needs, but I hope it covered most of the needs for most people. Now we're going to do a little bit of a channel update. Feel free to go watch something else if you're not invested in the channel, but I'm just going to go over a couple things. Now you guys know that all the shooting places within 50 miles of me have been shut down, and the ones that are closer, that are open, I can't get to because my car is just not beefy enough to take those roads. I currently have my father contacting an individual he is in contact with about some private land that I could possibly shoot on, and I have a coworker who knows a guy who has a private shooting range on some private land that we might be able to go shoot at. Luckily, I am pretty well liked in this community, and I'm a very responsible person in general. I hope to exude that through my channel. But I think our chances of snagging some private land so we can go shoot some more shooting videos is very high. So I'm very hopeful for that. Also, I've been looking into reloading more, buying some reloading presses, some reloading dies, particularly for my 9mm and my 30-06, as well as buying some cast for casting bullets. If you guys are interested in seeing me doing some reloading videos and some kind of beginner startup and my takes on reloading as a beginner, go ahead and comment and like or whatever. Show me that you want to see that, and maybe we'll work towards that, start saving up some money for some presses and whatnot. As always, anything you want to see from the channel, any content, any suggestions are always welcome. Even though we can't go shooting right now because the state is being so oppressive about it, let me know what you want to see from the channel, because it all gets written down and put in a document, and I reflect on it and I look and I see, hey, can I actually do this right now? Is this something the community is still interested in? Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video and sticking to the end. I really appreciate all your comments, especially you guys that comment week after week, and just like the littlest things like, hey, I like this video this week, keep it going. That just means so much to me. Every positive comment is, deletes 100 negative comments from my mind. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, we be shooting soon.